Hey, what's up, Silver Stackers? Thank you for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. Folks, we have a very interesting video that I put together for you all today. This is a conversation between me and one of my longtime viewers, and he's talking about, which he sent me this email, he's talking about why we need to buy silver before the winter because of the energy crisis and how that could greatly affect and push the price of silver up. Now, we're going to dive deep into this because he does say some things I don't completely agree with, but the entirety of the situation is that the energy crisis is getting way worse and we need to be buying silver now before it's too late. So I'm going to show what he said, and I'm also going to go into my response to what he said, and I think it's going to be a very educational video. This is actually the first thing he started off with. This is what he said first, and then he said a second part kind of clearing it up. He said he worded it better, and then you have my response. So I think this is going to be a very, very interesting video. I do want to mention a couple things. If you want a chance to win some silver shipped straight to your front doorstep, a disgustingly large amount of silver shipped straight to your front doorstep, all you got to do is click one button and type 5 letters. How's that? Go enter my 60,000 subscriber silver giveaway entry video. The link's in the description. If you also want a chance to buy silver from one of, or actually the most respected silver bullion dealer in the world, Miles Franklin, I can offer you that. 45 years in business, never had a negative complaint. Andy Sheckman will always make sure that you are taken care of. Always. Send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know what you want. Tubes of Eagles, Constitutional, bars, rounds, whatever you want. He got you. Just send an email there. And I promise it'll be worth it, because building a relationship with a direct source like him that can get, that has sources, within the top dogs, that can be very beneficial compared to just buying from some website where you don't know who's behind the screen. It's more personal with him, and he'll make sure you're taken care of, or I can make sure that you're taken care of him. If you ever needed a question or anything, I can put you in direct contact with him. It's just a much, there's just a lot more benefits buying through them than just online, if you get what I'm saying. But anyways, let him know Silver Slayer sent you. He'd love to hear that as well. Now let's jump into this. Remember, he does send another email breaking it down better, but I did want to show kind of the setup of where this all started. He says, he sent me a message a month ago or so showing the Elliott wave analysis of this pullback and the potential of a big third leg up over the coming years to $78, which actually would make a lot of sense if you want to compare, which a lot of people do compare 2008 to 2011, $50 silver, credit financial crisis, recession/depression, billion-dollar stimulus 3 years later, or, within that 3 years, 2008 to 2011 led to $50 silver. 2020 being the start as in 2008, because we both, just like back then, credit financial crisis, recession/depression, trillion-dollar stimulus, plus a global pandemic. So if you want to say 3 years to 3 years, that'd be 2023. Now, this is a lot more serious nowadays, right? We didn't have a global pandemic back then. We weren't in war back then. I mean, things are a lot more extreme. So if that pushed silver to $50 back then, imagine what it could push silver to today. So if he's looking at, over the coming years, push to 78, there's a lot of other variables, but it does kind of make sense of what I've been hearing other people, if they're trying to compare, back then, 2008 to 2011 to nowadays. Now, I don't usually compare that type of stuff because there's so many other variables and unknown variables that are occurring that is nowhere near, nowhere near as severe as back then. But regardless, it is, that is something you got to look at is, what has silver done before and what has affected it, and could that still be the case today? Regardless, though, he says, I may have missed a bullish setup right here. Says he has a friend on the London Metals Exchange. Firstly, the producers have gone long last week on silver and platinum for the third time in the past 20 years. Why is this? Which I did make a video covering that a little bit. But he says, first off, that's pretty historic. The main reason is the fear of as we get into the depths of winter, high energy prices, which is going to lead miners temporarily shutting down certain inefficient mines. Now, at these low prices and simply the fear of industry not being able to get supply, companies are forerunning this by hoarding metals now before winter. If we do get actual shutdowns of miners, it's going to get or actually create bullish short squeezes in the months, years ahead as we come out of winter, January through May time next six or the next time or the next year, for example. No one on YouTube is mentioning this yet, but they will. Thought I'd let you know what's going on in the London Metals Exchange. Now, taking out the London Metals Exchange, I've talked about this a lot regarding like Wall Street Silver, for example. They're still buying just as much silver as they were when they started. It's just they're not in the spotlight anymore. The LBMA vaults are empty. They said this. They admitted it. You know, taking out the London Metals Exchange, this situation is and has been happening, and it's only getting more severe. And when I talk about the COMEX collapsing, or even as far as the industrial sector, the solar panels, zero net emissions by the year 2040, all of that stuff, that has to do with this, a lot of this. But I do like the part that he brings to the table about before winter and why. So this is the updated version, a little more in depth, that he said he worded better below. So this is the other email. When I told him I wanted to screenshot his last email and make a video about it, he says, "No problem, man. Love your take on the fundamentals. Been watching your videos for ages, and you can use anything you want. Hopefully this words it a bit better. The fact they've flicked net long on silver and platinum is crazy. Some miners that are less efficient will shutter those like Pan American Silver did. Europe might mandate certain companies to limit energy. This scenario doesn't actually have to play out for or to make companies mop up the available supply before winter, just in case. Then, if they actually do get more shutdowns in the depths of winter, obviously, as we get out of winter, the demand picks up, the industrial metals will go insane. There is plenty of silver out there, but at higher prices, platinum too. They did not go net long on gold." I don't agree with what he just said there. There's plenty of silver out there, but at higher prices, and platinum too. There's a reason why gold doesn't have premiums, because gold isn't scarce. Gold isn't scarce. There's plenty of gold. Gold is recycled, remelted, rescrapped, reused into more jewelry and coins, right? People sell, pawn gold, ends up someone melts it down, turns into more jewelry, coins, you know, because gold is a monetary metal, kind of just sits around and gets remelted. An ounce of gold that gets dug up out of the Earth's crust stays in circulation for a century. Silver, no, it's thrown away within a couple decades because it's used in laptops and EVs and stuff like that, which gets thrown away at a landfill and never recycled. Just vanishes. Plus, and he even mentions this, silver is a byproduct. So they're looking for silver. Never. There's only a handful, maybe 3, 4 silver mines. The rest, they're looking for gold, lead, and zinc. I mean, if they find some silver, they'll take it, but they're not looking for it. You know, investing 101. Low supply, high demand, pushes the price up. And I've even shown graphs of this. The below ground supply in the Earth's crust versus the above ground supply versus global demand. And I've shown that even if we dig up, even if mining production increases, we're too deep in the hole. I mean, we're way too far back, even given the fact. I mean, you'll see my response to his emails, but let's keep moving on because I want to hear what he has to say. So he says he's worded this a little better below. "No one is even talking about this incredible opportunity yet. The global energy crisis is only going to get worse from here. Natural gas prices are currently 11 times higher than where they usually are for the first time of the year, and we haven't even entered the winter months yet, when prices will inevitably surge higher again. OPEC, Saudi Arabia want oil prices above $100, and they will keep cutting supply to ensure prices remain elevated. And then we have electricity prices across many parts of Europe Electricity prices are now trading at the equivalent of $1,000 a barrel of oil. That combination of factors alone has a massive bullish impact on industrial metals, which is a truly hidden opportunity right now. To produce all forms of essential commodities that keep the world functioning, it takes energy, whether that's in the form of oil, natural, electricity, etc. As prices continue to rise, this also has huge implications on mining production, exports, supply chain, etc. Overall, higher energy prices make it more expensive to produce commodities, which will ultimately lead to global production cuts, mining, refinery shutdowns, booming shipping costs, leading to a major squeeze in prices ahead. All the major banks, hedge funds, commercials, as well as Warren Buffett are quietly into piling into. I actually made a video recently on talking about all the different billionaires: Warren Buffett, Jim Rogers, even Jeff, asshole, Elon Musk. I mean, there's so many. The lady from Texas, the billionaire that bought $50 million worth of silver from Miles Franklin. I mean, a lot of billionaires are, that's also a thing. But anyways, all these billionaires such as Warren Buffett are quietly piling into industrial metals and energies, and it's getting zero coverage, which is exactly what they want. Well, I mean, I've been covering it on my channel. I've made a video specifically on Warren Buffett recently, Jim Rogers recently. Actually, the video on Elon Musk and Donald Trump owning silver, that video has like 20,000 views. I made it like last week. I also made a couple of videos on the billionaire from Texas about why she bought $50 million worth of silver from Miles Franklin. She actually mentions she's going to be buying billions of dollars. But anyways, when prices blast through all-time record highs in the months and years ahead, the people will realize, in the hindsight, why the statement shouldn't have been overlooked. The famous saying goes, don't waste a good crisis, and the crisis currently unfolding right now presents huge money-making opportunity for the select few who know it's coming. And yeah, I mean, I always talk about that. When people 5-10 years from now look back, they'll say, why in the world didn't I invest in a silver? It makes perfect sense. Just like, how the people, they kick themselves in the butt and say, man, I wish I bought Bitcoin when it was $100. People will be doing the same thing about silver with us, and that's why I try to make videos to reach people, I try to reach out, find the person that's never invested a single dollar in their entire life, and someone that maybe does invest in the stocks or something, they come across one of my videos, I can guarantee it's gonna make them second guess what they're doing. And if that doesn't happen, then they shouldn't be investing at all, because that means that they are completely closed-minded. That means they're having a biased opinion on why they're investing and don't want to be proven wrong and don't want to admit it, right? Because I can give you 20 reasons why silver makes the most sense in the next 10 years. I can give you 20 reasons why stocks don't make the most sense in the next 10 years. And if you're sitting there and trying to tell me wrong when I'm giving you point after point after point, then that means you're just closed-minded or have some type of ego, because if I take myself out of it, if I was an outsider at a bar and walked up to me and another guy talking about silver versus stocks, and I have an unbiased, because I don't know about any of them, I would listen in and say, yeah, silver makes the most sense by far, But anyways, this is how I responded. I said, have you watched my interview with David Morgan I had the other day? A lot of this was actually, did I finish what he said? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so I said, have you watched my interview with David Morgan I had the other day? A lot of this was talked about in the interview. He also mentions the 90-10 ratio. Last 10% is when the biggest moves happen, just like 1980 and 2011. You also have to remember the unknown variables, which most don't incorporate. Wrench can and usually does get thrown in, which throws predictions way off. Also, the manipulative aspect, whereas technically that should push silver to XYZ, but that's only in a perfect world with a fair market. Until the COMEX collapses in pure fundamentals without price manipulation from big banks like JP Morgan, it's nearly impossible to say what the price will be. And that's even including the energy crisis. Technically, silver should be around $300. To be honest, way more. We aren't living in a fair system without price suppression. Yet, the shortage from the industrial sector will easily push over any type of manipulation going on, because we're talking about physical silver unavailable, not just dollars thrown trying to manipulate the price. The COMEX will collapse soon. Vaults are already damn near empty and the truth will be revealed. I like the before winter thing for the reasons given, but also got to remember the unknown variables. I think it did start in late 2019, early 2020, before the global pandemic. Remember U.S.-China trade wars, Iran tensions, Saudi Arabia, oil fields getting bombed. That was right before, leading actually, that was COVID started in the middle of that. But nobody remembers since COVID hit and took full attention from everyone. 2008, 2011 is very similar to 2020 until, I don't know, or I don't even think the dollar will last till 2035, to be honest. And that was because he was talking about 20, I think he said 2020 or 2027 to 2035 is when yada yada. But anyways, I said I don't even think the dollar will last until 2035. To be honest, it's already lost 98% of its purchasing power. And that's a literal percentage. And with Biden throwing trillions, I'm sure it's approaching 99% soon. Countries are already opting out of the U.S. dollar being the world's reserve currency, and situation globally really exposed how broke the United States really is. My interview with Andy Schectman really dives deep into that whole thing, but regardless, we all know silver is a must, and given the fact that the industry is going to catch on sooner than later to silver's importance, we better get it ASAP before its true price is revealed. And then I kind of reread and saw the part where he said that there's plenty of silver. It's just at higher prices. And then I went in and said this. By the way, I saw you mention there's plenty of silver out there. I do not agree with that to the slightest, or I do not agree with that to the slightest degree, and wonder why or where you're getting this info from. I cover data almost every day proving otherwise. And everyone who thinks there's plenty of silver always are just assuming or speculating and can never show any data proving their case, which is true. I show data every day showing that there's not, whether it's the Silver Institute, which is the holy grail of information, whether it's the LBMA, there's so much evidence out there proving otherwise. I've even shown below ground supply versus above ground supply versus global demand, and even included mining production and even recycling. I've included all these different things, and it's just not enough. Especially, and that's what I said right here. I've shown, wait, where did I stop? So I said, when I wonder where you're getting this info from, I cover data almost every day proving otherwise, and everyone who thinks there's plenty of silver always just assuming or speculating. The LBMA silver vaults are nearly empty, as coming directly from them, and shown the above ground supply versus mining production versus global demand exceeding 1.112 billion ounces this year, especially given that we just started the new Green Deal. How in the world is there plenty of silver out there when looking at the billions upon billions of ounces we will need in the next 5 to 10 years? Vaults are already empty, and it's just the beginning of this new digital green technological era that we're advancing in. It's just not realistic. And even with my interview with David Morgan a couple days ago, he even said the same thing. He's like, anyone, and he even said, quoted with his letter to Elon Musk, he said, anyone who thinks we have enough silver is a dreamer, right? They're just they're living in fantasy land. It's not realistic. But anyways, yeah, I like what he said. And it's okay to not agree with what everyone says all the time. But I really do like his points, and I like that he emailed me this because it really does bring up a whole new level to the energy crisis, and I respect that. So I hope you have some info to throw in, some opinions thrown in on this. Do you agree? Do you think that winter will be a very bullish time and we need to get it now? It's kind of weird because usually around the holidays it's a bearish time for precious metals. People sell, want to go on vacation or take time off or get Christmas presents and all that stuff. But it could definitely be the opposite this year. But remember, there is Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and that's definitely one of the times of the year I buy the most silver, especially since the new pandas are out by then. The 2023 pandas will be out by Black Friday. They always are. Most other coins aren't. They're usually early January. But the pandas are always out by then, so that's usually when I get most of my pandas for a cheap price. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Remember, if you want to enter my 60,000 subscriber giveaway, please do. You don't want to miss it, trust me. You'll be like someone that wished they started buying silver right now. You're gonna feel the same way, wished you entered the giveaway. And also, if you want to enter or if you want to buy some silver from Miles Franklin, send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let him know Silver Slayer sent you. Andy and I are doing a little podcast thing tomorrow. We're going to do it every Wednesday. It's going to be really fun. Just kind of talk silver, I'll pick his brain since he's so knowledgeable. And it's going to be a great time. A lot of good content coming up. I'm glad you all are loving the channel recently. Like my last 2-3 videos have like almost 20,000 views a piece, which is insane. So I'm glad you guys are getting involved and wanna watch the stuff, and I'm happy that I can create content that you enjoy. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.